Check, check. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bing. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good to go. All right, welcome back, folks. Good morning. Hi, guys. So, it is a lovely, cold morning, and we are here for Game Design 1. Okay, so, I saw you guys yesterday, but I'm guessing a lot of people like to come in for the later time slots in general. So I wonder if some of you guys have migrated over to the 12 o'clock instead. Yes?
I was very tired.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, we're going to have a short lecture. But you're going to have to stay alert because I'm going to test you.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Don't worry, I'm gonna nod off and just ask me and Alec if it's Jewish.
Just wait until, it's still dark outside at 8 a.m. Yeah. When it's snowy and cold and you remember, oh crap, we live in Barrie, All right. But, okay, this topic is an important topic. You will be tested on it at some point, not right away, but you will be tested on it. It will affect your final grade for sure. Just not when you expect it. Like the Spanish Inquisition. So, we talked, if you were here yesterday, we've talked about engagement structure, actually, as part of narrative structure. Okay? So from a narrative perspective, yes, you want this rising action, climax, etc. But I mentioned we also want it from a gameplay perspective. We need to be paying attention to how we're creating engagement, how we're creating excitement, and maybe different types of ways that can happen, right? So you can do that with challenge, but it's not just challenge that makes it. So we got to dive into how it works, because you can make a really hard game, but you can make a really hard game that's frustrating. You can make a really hard game that's boring, and you can make a really hard game that's fun. Those are all possible, because it's not about the difficulty. You can also make an easy game that's fun. So we got to dive into that a little bit more. So yeah, you definitely want to increase challenge as time goes on and that kind of thing. But here's one thing to keep in mind. And this is something you probably experience as well as a student. You may not have known the term for it, and you may not remember the term for it, to be honest, but there's something called the Yerkes-Dodson law, which is basically, when you're not stressed at all, you will not learn a damn thing. And you will not do anything useful either, because what will you be? You will be freaking bored out of your mind. When you're bored out of your mind, your blood is not pumping, your brain is not functioning at optimal performance. So, you need a little bit of stress. That's why we have deadlines. That's why you're coming here to school and not just studying everything on your own, like going to a library and reading books or, researching stuff on the internet. You need pressure. As well as the community and lots of other things that are very beneficial about school. But for a lot of people, people go to school for writing, not because they need really so much the guidance of their teachers, which they might appreciate, but also just to give them deadlines. When you're doing certain creative careers, it can get really hard without deadlines. So you need those. You need stress in your life. That's why you probably play a lot of video games that are stressful or include stressful situations. They're like little tiny stressful situations. Same reason we watch horror movies. right? Why would you want to subject yourself to that? In some ways, it is actually enjoyable. So the right amount of stress is what you need to be interested, what you need to be learning faster, and what you need to be having more fun. Okay? So if you ever read any of the academic texts about this, they will call this interest that I'm talking about arousal, as in terms of emotional response. Because arousal just means like alert, basically, like woken up, right? But I will call it emotional response to spare you the embarrassment of hearing that all the time. Okay? It's the same thing, because it's lots of different emotions could be arousal. It could be that you're angry. It could be that you're scared. It could be that you're, oh, hang on a sec. The screens. There's only one working. Okay, there we go. It could be all sorts of things, right? All sorts of emotions you could have, as long as they're strong. So we want to keep players within this curve, in the optimal point of this curve, right? Between being bored and too stressed to function reasonably, right? And this is going to be different from all sorts of different people, right? Some people can handle a little bit more pressure and they need a little bit more pressure or they'll get bored. Some people can't handle as much pressure. They want to be a little bit more relaxed to do their stuff. So this is kind of challenging, but that's what we need, right? It depends on this, the level of anxiety in a person, you could say, okay? But there's always this point that is optimal. So this applies to school, this applies to teamwork environments, it applies to everything, right? There's another thing that we want to create that usually happens in that space. Not guaranteed, but usually happens when we're in between that space of bored and stressed. And it's called flow state. It may also be called the zone, and there's a few other terms for it. Anyone else have another term for this? Do you know what this is? Tell me this. Have you ever felt that you're really heavily invested in something? You're super focused. You forget the time passing. You forget that you have a body, and the body needs to eat food and drink water and stuff like that. Those sorts of things. Does this ever happen to you?
Locked in.
Locked in. So there's a term for it. To be locked in. Okay, what else?
Spaced out.
Say again?
Spaced out.
Spaced out?
In a sense, because it's you're more or less focused on one thing, so you space out about everything around you.
Oh, okay. Usually when I hear people say spaced out, it means not focused,
Yeah.
or almost kind of blank. But this is not quite blank. This is focused on one task and nothing else. Literally nothing else. You don't exist anymore, only the task exists. It's a pretty good feeling when you experience that. Anyone want to tell me when you felt this? When have you felt this experience? Yes?
When I'm really enjoying something that I'm doing.
Yeah, okay, an example.
Even just in education form, I guess not recreational wise,
Mhm.
something you're trying to learn and improve on, you get obsessed with it a little bit. You don't realize how long it's been, you look at the clock and it's been hours.
Right. You could get invested going down a rabbit hole about learning about a topic, and that could be really engaging. Yeah. You could get invested doing your homework. If it's interesting homework, yeah, okay. I mean, sometimes when there's a bit more pressure, you can get invested, and you can lock in on an exam, right? Just doing an exam that was difficult, but you did study, so you know something. You can kind of do it. Yes? Any other people want to share? Yes?
I have two examples. Back in elementary school, I used to play volleyball,
Volleyball.
and I kind of entered a state where every choice I made during the match just
felt right. You didn't have to think about the decisions made during that volleyball game. You just knew what to do. That's cool. That feels great. What fighting game was it that you played as well?
The first one was
Mortal Kombat. Okay.
The second one was Dragon Ball Fighters.
Dragon Ball Fighters. Takes some time to get to that point, right? Because you gotta learn the ins and outs of it. You gotta learn how to see the game, in volleyball and in like video games. You gotta learn how to see the game. You gotta learn how to kind of have a feel for what's coming next and that sort of thing. But then when you get there, the decisions come. It's not even a decision. You're not asking the question. You're only giving answers, basically. That's great. That's really nice. Okay, one more person want to share? Yes?
Whenever I'm playing like a first-person shooter, like Battlefield, for instance,
Mm.
whenever
Not any first-person shooter. Good ones. Only good ones.
Yeah.
You just don't play the bad ones. Go on.
I play the bad ones, I just never get into that state
Yeah.
of playing the bad ones. But like in Battlefield, whenever I choose a recon class and I set up in a good position,
Ah.
providing like support from a distance as a sniper,
Mm.
you know, to like I'm able to hyper focus on my target and stuff.
Mm.
And feel like I'm always landing like really good shots, supporting my team.
Yeah. So you fall into a rhythm. You find a good position. You're comfortable here. Like, okay, this is my stomping ground. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch my targets, watch my sectors, and I'm gonna take down anyone I see in 1 or 2 shots. And that's cool. And you feel that you know what to do. You know when to get out of there. That sort of thing. You don't have to. You're not asking anyone. You're not asking those questions in your head. You're just doing it.
You know, and whenever I'm in those spots and people try to challenge me out of it, I always
Yeah, you hear the footsteps of someone approaching behind you or beside you, and you're like, okay, I'm time to teach this guy a lesson. That's good. That's cool. So that's great. So if you've experienced this, this is one of the greatest things that you can feel in gaming. It's not the only thing that makes gaming interesting, but it's definitely one of the coolest parts of gaming. That draws people in or really locks them in. So flow, you can tell when somebody is in flow when they are concentrated on the task and nothing else. They're not thinking about what groceries they need to buy. They're not thinking about what happened yesterday. Nothing else, right? There's clarity of purpose, so they know what they need to do. They feel in control, so they feel that not only do they know what they need to do, they feel that they have the tools required to do it. Oh, we lost one. Okay, it's back. Okay. The experience itself is rewarding without any external rewards. So when you're in flow, you feel good even if you're not receiving a reward for doing that thing. Right? You enjoy doing the activity for its own sake. Not everything is intrinsically rewarding, right? What's the difference between an intrinsic and extrinsic reward? Anyone know the answer for that?
I'm just never even put it away.
Oh, you've never heard of this word?
No.
Okay. No one heard of it?
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's okay. So an intrinsic reward is something basically that you want to do. That you are rewarding yourself for it because you just enjoy it. So intrinsic motivation is, I love painting, so I'm going to paint. Painting is fun. Extrinsic motivation is from outside. It's, my parents told me I need to learn an art skill, so I'm going to paint these pictures because my parents told me to, because I need to gain their approval, or I'm going to paint because I want to sell these on Etsy, or I'm going to post pictures on Instagram for social recognition, not because I enjoy painting. That's extrinsic rewards, right? So in a video game, for example, an intrinsic reward would be, or a game that is all intrinsically rewarding, is a game that has no progression, has nothing like to unlock or anything like that. You just play it and enjoy it. So, like playing Uno, or like very classic games, mostly classic games. Newer games don't tend to have this model anymore, but a lot of older games would just be a game you can play. You don't need to unlock 100 things. You don't need to buy a battle pass, nothing. You buy the game and you play it, and that's it. You just play the game. It doesn't have to tell you plus 10 experience every 10 seconds or something like that, whatever. Okay? You just like playing the game. You would like playing the game just if there was almost nothing else going on, right? Extrinsic rewards in a game would be people, let's say, playing a game where they feel like they're doing a chore just so they can get to something else. So if you ever played an MMORPG, they tend to have a lot of these. Massively multiplayer online games like World of Warcraft or something like that, you might do this riveting activity very often of clicking on a rock and then watching your character go run to that rock and then smack the rock for a little bit, and then you see a +1 item in your inventory. Okay, you get a rock in your inventory, and then you go somewhere else and you sell the rock, and then the activity of doing that is really kind of, you just click over there and then you click over there and then you click to sell your rocks, and it's not really that fun at all. Like, it's not fun at all. But you're doing it so that you can get the gold, so that you can buy something else that you want, right? That's more extrinsic. It's closer to extrinsic. Even more extrinsic is sometimes in those games, people do those activities just so they can get gold, so they can sell it for real world money. Which is, they're doing it like a job, like it's a job. They just work here. Okay, so that's the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. And just in all things that you do, you should think about that a little bit, right? Think about what is motivating you. Are you doing this because, you want approval of other people, or are you doing this because you love this? Or can you find the joy in doing it yourself anyway? Can you find joy in that? A big way to tell if somebody has experienced flow state is if they just forgot to eat and stuff like that. That's a big one. I mean, it's kind of bad. It's like we're trying to create situations where people don't take care of their bodies, but like in small bursts, right? Like in small periods of time. So there's always going to be this flow channel, because as people play your game, they're going to get better at it. So what we're going to be thinking about, if you map user capability and task difficulty on two axes, you're going to need to increase your task's difficulty over time as users' ability increases over time, right? And different people will have different learning curves through this process, right? And this depends on your level design, this depends on that person's individual decision making, this depends on a few things, right? So you really have a channel here where it's acceptable, right? And so some people, maybe they're a faster learner or something like that, and they will outstrip this. They will outstrip this, more quickly than you expect. Some people might learn a little slowly, or they will actually find a dominant strategy in a game that makes the game really easy for a while. And then what happens is it becomes really easy for them for a while. So they're bored first, but they don't gain skills nearly as fast. And then eventually they shoot straight into the anxiety zone, because their strategy that worked before doesn't work anymore, and they did not build the skills to actually get better. I mean, this doesn't happen just in video games. This happens when you find a crutch and you hold on to the crutch for too long in any skill, right? Usually there's kind of, something you can do that's easier for now, but it won't be easier in the long run, right? It won't be optimal in the long run. So that's something that can happen as well. So these are things that we as game designers need to keep in mind, because we're designing a game that's going to be played by all sorts of many different people, right? So what you need to do is you need to test it with lots of different people to understand, to learn about them. Okay, how do you create flow? This is important because if you don't use the right ingredients, this will not happen. Okay, you need a clear goal. Players need to understand exactly what they need to do. They don't need to know exactly how to get there all the time, but they need to know what they're trying to achieve. It's kind of like, if I give you a writing assignment, I say, okay, give me 2 pages of writing. And that's it. That's all I tell you. What are you going to ask? What am I supposed to write about? What's the goal here? What subject am I supposed to write about? Like, what kind of writing is this? You won't know, right? So when it's all up in the air, you can't really lock in. Okay? There's nothing to lock onto, basically. So you need a clear understanding of your goal. And you need to kind of know some of the base mechanics, basically. You need players to know the basic rules of the world, the basic rules of the game. Okay? So you need to make sure that for your players, you're teaching them and reminding them of the mechanics, and sometimes you also want to give them tips on the dynamics of the game, on how the game will play out, and strategies and things like that can help them. Okay? This is also one of the reasons a lot of games will constantly tell you or remind you of objectives. What matters is that your players know what the objective is, though. As long as your players understand what they want to do. You also need immediate feedback. In a video game, we expect it like in milliseconds. In a video game, when we've taken action, we expect to receive the reaction in milliseconds. This is something we got used to for video games. It's something that we enjoy about video games. That it's something where you immediately know if what you did is right or wrong. This is not always the case in real life, right? It takes a very long time, and sometimes you never receive the answers in real life. So it's kind of nice that we have this little toy world where you take an action and then you immediately know if what you did was good or bad or okay. You are immediately told if your timing was right. You're immediately told, if you hit your target, you shoot. Did you hit your target? You're immediately told. It may not be in words, right? It might be in audio feedback. It might be in a visual effect or lots of different things, right? But you know right away, and that's key. Okay, so modern games that do this really well will actually need not one sound effect for attacking, but like 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 sound effects for attacking. Because you have a lot of different things that can happen, or a lot of different combinations of sound effects. So players will learn the response. So let's say you swing your sword, okay? You click the button to swing your sword, okay? And you swing your sword. Okay, what if in this part of the game you're not allowed to swing your sword? You don't have a sword, you have to put it away because you're going to a party, so you had to leave your sword at the door. Okay, so you press the sword attack button. What should the game do? It should not do nothing. It needs to do something. If it does nothing, the player doesn't know if the game is telling them no, or if their controller is broken, or what. And it just doesn't feel good. So to make it feel good, we have to add stuff for that. If they click the sword swing button, we have to acknowledge that they pressed the button. So we add in some animation of the character looking at their sword and there's no sword, or something like that. Immediate feedback for, you press the button, we know you pressed the button, but you're not allowed to do that, okay? Okay, thank you. We're just going to tell them. Okay, maybe they do have their sword. What if they swing their sword? Then we play the whoosh and everything, the sound effect for it swinging. What if they swing their sword and they hit a target? There needs to be a whoosh, there needs to be a hit sound effect, Okay? What if they swing their sword and it's blocked? So we want to indicate that the target they swung at was not injured by this, right? You did not have a good effect on your target. So, different sound effect from hitting. Different sound effect from hurting your opponent, one where they are not hurt. And one for you swing, but you miss. Okay. And then all sorts of other things you might need to do based on your game mechanics, right? So this is something where people underestimate how long it takes to do like a basic feature, because to do that feature well, you need to do a lot more, right? You don't just need one sound effect. So you can't leave sound effects until, the last week or something like that, because then you're going to be trying to add 200 sound effects in the last week, and you're not going to be able to do that, right? If you want to make it good, that is, The last thing you need to create flow is a balance of perceived skill and challenge. So the player needs to feel that it is within their capability. It doesn't really matter how skilled the player is and how challenging it is, as much as it matters how skilled the player thinks they are and how challenging the player thinks it is. Because sometimes people can overestimate themselves, sometimes people can underestimate themselves. To make flow, you actually make that in the person, so it doesn't. It's kind of tough because it doesn't matter what you did; it matters how they feel about it, right? So you need to be thinking that extra step ahead of how the player is going to interpret this. So one reason why, or say one example where this matters, is how you set your players' expectations. If you set your players' expectations that the game will be easy and relaxing, and then you present a significant challenge that requires them to reattempt over and over again many times, then your player will become frustrated. Only because you at the advertising, like the vibe that they got from your store page and stuff like that, that it was going to be a relaxing game. But if you told the same player this is a serious game to hone your skills and really try again, they're going to perceive it differently when they play this exact same game. Same person, same game, but different signaling, different communication. Okay? It's just managing expectations. That's the reason why, the Souls-like games have such a reputation or whatever, and then people can have the same difficulty in another game, but then complain about that, right? The only difference is just culture, essentially. It's the culture and messaging about it. Okay. Anyone want to describe to me when one of these failed and it took you out of the game? An example game experience or something like that. When has one of these failed you? Yes?
There's been quite a few games, but a lot of game trailers that don't really show you what the game is.
Oh, right. It doesn't tell you how the game works. Yeah, okay.
Or it's not what it's even supposed to be, so it gives you this cool, intense feeling, and then you get into the game, it's slow, or it's not exactly what the trailer
Interesting,
gives you
okay.
a perception of.
Okay. So the disappointment
Your
between the trailer and
expectation is what you saw, and that's not what's in the game.
I
So
see.
it's- I don't know.
Okay. I wouldn't say that's like something that took you out of flow. It just put you off from, you just felt lied to. Yeah. Because that's not like you're playing the game and then something takes you out. That's like you just, the game isn't what I thought it was.
Fair.
Yeah. So you're more likely to experience this if you play bad games, but like most people don't play bad games because when they see a bad game, they just don't want to put their time into it. You guys will have these problems in your games because, it's your first games.
I don't have a problem.
Okay, I want you to think about this in the future. Think about this. Usually these first two are a problem. But sometimes it's this one, like when there's a huge difficulty spike or something like that, and then people are like, wow, that was not fair. That was really unfair, and it was artificial difficulty, right, is a term that people will use when they see this, right? You're in flow, you're achieving, your goals and stuff like that, and then there's you run up against this wall, and it feels like the designers just wanted to artificially stop you from progressing here and slow you down, and that's where it took you out of the game, because you stopped thinking of it as just a task ahead of you, a thing you need to do, and you started thinking, oh, a human being designed this, and I'm going to blame the human being because they made a bad decision. That means you're not in flow anymore. Because when you're in flow, you're not thinking about anything else except the task. But when you're thinking about, oh, why did the designers do this, that means you're out of flow. Yeah?
When a game breaks its own rules to force something to happen, so every game has their own rules to their world or their function of their game, and then occasionally they'll just completely drop all logic of what they built their game off of.
Oh yeah, when a game breaks its own conventions.
Its own things that
Interesting.
they
Yeah.
develop for
No, that's true. That's true. Because that's very important, because you need that for this to work.
And they pull you out because it's just like this. No, this isn't how
Well,
this is supposed
do you have an example? Would you be able to provide an example of a game that does that?
I guess there's a couple crappy games like Hades. They're good versus broken. Have you played that? It's terrible. It's bad voice acting, all this stuff, so it's hard to take seriously. But
Okay.
They do get things right. And then there's a point where you're supposed to be this soldier and you have these suits. You're part of the bad guys team. When you're aiming with your gun, you aim with the helmet visor, so
Okay.
you get attack HUD up.
Okay.
And then, but it's part of their weapons. But when you pick up an enemy's weapon, you still get that HUD even though that gun has the sight.
It breaks its own rules. Okay, that way.
Or
Okay,
then
that's what you
you
mean.
become then you're on the enemy team, and then you pick up the high tech gun. That HUD pops up even though you don't have the gear. and then
Right.
you break their
Okay.
own rules.
Yeah, that's immersion breaking.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, one more.
Two examples. Killzone, they're uncreative, where you leave the map and it's you have a timer, it's return from that.
Oh, okay.
That really breaks immersion.
Okay.
It's not creative.
Okay.
And then bad sound design.
Okay. So those first two things that you guys described to me, those are breaking immersion narratively. Those are not the same thing as breaking flow. Okay? So breaking flow is more let's say you're locked in and it feels like somebody interrupts you and they stop you from focusing on that task. Okay? It's a little bit more like that.
Artificial.
It's more in the mechanics. It's more in the gameplay.
A really bad, or example, a repetitive sound effect. If you hear the same sound effect.
Oh yeah, that does help. That does hurt. Okay, interesting. Okay. This right here, great read for learning more about this topic because it's really deep. It's a big topic. Flow psychology, the field of flow psychology, is something that's a lot of people are interested in for various reasons. People in the business and management world love this. People in game development, of course, love this in terms of working with their teams, but also making games, but also in terms of managing team members. Because guess what? If you want to create this optimal performance in you can do that as well in your developers. So think about all of this stuff that we just thought about here for players. You need all of this to be a good developer as well, to be optimally performing, to be locked in when deving your game. Okay? So this is great for productivity, for actually getting things done, So you want to be thinking about ways that you can organize yourselves to create this in yourself while you're working on stuff. Okay, so yes, we want to create these peaks and valleys of excitement. If you were here in the narrative design class, we talked about the this shape. Anyone remember what it was called? It was a pyramid of some type. It was a pyramid. Someone's pyramid. Okay. So you want to create this Freytags. Yes, nice. So you want to create this you want to think about your excitement structure. So you want to think about your players' emotional engagement or their arousal over time. Okay? So you want to create peaks and valleys. You want contrast. You cannot just make your player excited all the time, 100% of the time. Doesn't work. When you try that, it ends up being none of the time. You need to have contrast. If you don't have contrast, you have nothing. Okay? This is actually true in a lot of things. It really matters a lot. Okay? Contrast is actually the thing that matters more than absolute value. Okay? So this is a structure that people often use for their intensity in movies, games, television, pretty much books, everything. Anyone seen something like this before, where something starts off just really intense, but then cools off and gives you some build-ups, some smaller build-ups? Actually less intense than the original, but building towards something more intense. Anyone seen something like this? Anyone got an example of a piece of media, okay, that had this structure built into it? Lord of the Rings. Why?
I mean, it starts with like the first war.
Okay. So the Lord of the Rings, it starts with war. You're just in a battle.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about it at that point.
Yeah, that hooks you.
Yeah, it's a hook.
Like there's evil, there's good, everything's set up.
Yeah.
But like with the ring in the bottom of the lake, the evil stays at least.
Yeah. So there's big battle, like ring sinks to the bottom of the lake, and then it's like what's happening here? You don't know what's happening.
There's like stagnation for like thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
And after that you're literally in the cutest
Yeah, like the little village, like the little Teletubbies village, with the rolling green hills of New Zealand, and little people, and they're they're just happy little people that they just party and drink and stuff. They're just like Irish dudes.
Without the alcohol.
I'm pretty sure they were drinking alcohol. They were drinking plenty. Yeah.
I think you got the wrong shot.
No.
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Did you get the wrong show? I don't know, but
no, there were a lot
did you get the Mormon version or something? So it goes from war into green rolling hills and just cheery dudes and plucky little protagonists. Great. And then, we have this whole hero's journey stuff going on. Okay, there's the greater purpose you need to serve, all this stuff, and we have major challenges. We have a big
That's
quest.
basically like even with the graph.
Yeah, you can plot it. You can be like, yeah, I know exactly what's gonna go here. That's really neat, right? And if you pay attention, you'll see this all over the place, right? Anyone think of a video game that had this? Lots of them. Yes?
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, okay.
It has it for like all three apps, not only just one. So Act
Mm.
1, you start with the rescue mission, you rescue the hostage.
Oh yes, the hostage rescue situation. That's like a really intense part of the beginning. So you have to. Okay, go on. Sorry. No. I took your spotlight.
After the hostage mission dies down, you start preparing for the big heist. So you do a bunch of, I think you do 2 other missions to prepare for that, and climaxes at the heist where the thing happens.
The thing happens.
And now you have to escape the building.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah. So it does start out really intense, but then you kind of cool off. You do some smaller jobs. You do some prep work. Some smaller jobs that are prep work for a big heist that's coming up. So it kind of helps you build it again towards another climactic event where major story things happen, major things change, and you have a death and rebirth. Actually, yeah, your character, yeah.
Can I ask something?
Oh yes, of course.
Does like Cyberpunk complete this cycle?
I haven't.
You do the final fight, but there's still like things to do. I mean, it's
No, once you reach the end of the game, you it's actually an end. You can't like continue after the end of the game. You have to reload to before the end of the game. Is that what you mean?
No, I meant like as the story.
As the story. Oh, okay, yeah. What about it?
Because like you have the big fight, stuff happen.
Yeah.
There's still stuff you need to do after that, especially like if you're in the air. Like there's stuff, but like I'm done with the game. I did the big fight.
Yeah.
We're over the climax, but
Yeah.
it's still going on.
Oh, so you're what you're saying is like it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom here. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, I felt that I did feel that it didn't. Well, I guess it depends on your ending. It has a few different. It has a few different endings. Okay, that like go in different ways. There are definitely endings. Yeah, there are definitely endings where there's like a permanent change, and it's not your story. Yes, there you still live. In some ways, but
Like you have to die in the end.
yeah, but I would say you're not quite the rock star at the end that you were right before the end.
No.
So you kind of
I guess in some of the endings, especially, like
Yeah.
I felt like this point just drifted away.
yeah. I wouldn't say it got more exciting. I wouldn't say that the ending of that game. I was left without kind of answers to questions and stuff like that. So part of this is like part of creating this like excitement and this kind of level of engagement includes like narrative arcs that you have open. So when it closes a bunch of narrative arcs, you feel a sense of closure and you feel that this does like come down a little bit. Just like emotionally, you're not on the edge of your seat anymore. You know what I mean? So when you actually you're sitting back again, there's still a lot of stuff narratively that your character has to deal with or whatever, but it's not quite as intense as it was when you were like on the edge of your seat, right? So it does have a little bit. Okay, yeah.
Another setting game like to think about does this. It's the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare series.
Okay,
I'm starting with like COD 4.
okay,
Like, like from each one, it sort of amps up to the next one and next one.
Mhm.
Making it through the first one, there's one big bad enemy that you have to beat, and there's low points, but then it basically goes back up to intense fighting scenes where there's sort of plot points that sort of make you realize, oh, it's not over yet. And then by the end of the first game, you've defeated the main guy, but then it hints at there's something worse coming, and then the game sort of falls at the same path.
yeah. It doesn't have to go back all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
Like that's not. I mean, you don't have to follow this exactly, right? This is kind of a really rough sketch, basically, right? It could be like this,
Yeah.
like whatever. You could do lots of things. Yep.
lots of games mess up the ending
Yeah.
and like the late game stuff.
Yeah. It's really hard. It's really hard, especially if you made really exciting parts earlier. It's hard to like do this. So what you'll sometimes have is like more like this, and then it doesn't feel like it was bigger at the end than anything else. So this can sometimes happen, you know. And then like the best part was like right here. That can happen. That can definitely happen. And it's tough because you really want to make sure when you're making a game, especially you know, when people can refund your game, it's really important to make sure it's really fun right here. So you need to put more effort right here than anywhere else in your game, because over half the people that buy your game, even if they don't refund it, they will not finish your game. So I'm sorry, you guys have to remember that you're the enthusiasts here. It's a little different for like in general, right? The reasons they don't finish their game are varied, right? Usually it's because there's no time, or because there's another thing that came out or something like that. I haven't had much time to play any games. Like I haven't played anything in a few months, actually, to be honest. Yeah. But like, you know, it's because time. It's time.
I've noticed too when there's like not enough drops, I find the game's more boring even if there is a lot more.
Drops? What do you mean by drops?
Like more slow points if there's not enough.
Oh, like the contrast.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find that the game is boring because you don't have enough to compare it to. If everything
Yeah.
is up here, then that becomes neutral, and then nothing's interesting.
Yeah.
You need sunshine and rain.
That brings me to this other structure, which is not. I would argue that this is not real. The reason I would argue this is not real is well, actually it is real. It's just it's not the same graph. It's not the same graph. This is intensity for the player's experience that you want to create. This is game difficulty. What will actually happen here is more like this. If you map intensity for the player, it'll look more like that. Okay? But that's at least what we're trying to do, something. Make them feel something. So this is a structure you'll often see where, you know, the game has lots of little encounters, right? Little encounters, boss battle. 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 Maybe not always as exactly predictable as this, but sometimes. Sometimes it's very predictable. Yeah. And then if you do game difficulty like this, then theoretically, if your player is learning at a consistent rate, then their player's excitement level is going to be going like this, right? It's not really going to be going up. It's just going to be staying consistent because you need to raise the stakes to even keep them at a baseline as they get better at the game. So it might look more like this. But sometimes a game can be overbalanced and it's too smooth. You know, the experience is too smooth and it's like this. And when it's like this, it's really boring. Really boring. Right? Sometimes you actually do need a difficulty spike. Last time I felt that, it was really fun. I played Armored Core 6. It has a boss that's really hard, or it was on launch. And the developers nerfed it, and I felt bad because I was like, oh, that's too bad because I really like this boss battle. It was really hard for a while, and they had the music kick in at the right time. It was perfect, you know. I became the machine that I was piloting, you know, the giant battle mech, and it was great. But then, you know, if it was any easier, I wouldn't have had that. So, you know, personally, that's how I felt, right? That it was a difficulty spike. Yes, people complained like heck that it was a difficulty spike, but I loved that it was one. I loved that it was way harder than anything else in the whole game. Yes?
Just another thing that I just thought of, that actually pretty much fits the intensity map.
Mm-hmm.
It's another Call of Duty game, but like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, its multiplayer was ass, but the campaign was actually really good.
Oh, yeah?
Just because
I wouldn't have tried it, to be honest.
yeah, that's fair.
Go on.
It wasn't a great game, but
Okay.
I love the campaign.
Okay.
Because it starts off like smooth, like going all fine, and then all of a sudden a war breaks out, and
Oh, it like ramps up really quickly.
space
Yeah.
battles and stuff, and like it battles to like calm, and then you get to a point where it's like, oh, you think you finally achieve peace, but then all of a sudden your whole ship's destroyed, and you have to come get a new one. And by the end of the game, well, at the climax, you're doing one last ditch effort to defeat the bad guy.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
In doing so,
Yeah.
you destroy the whole armada, but in doing so, you and your whole crew die. But like, it's one of those sacrifice style endings, but it was so enjoyable that I just loved that game. So
Okay,
much
okay.
Just because like the constant feel
Fair.
of intensity to like
To calmness. Yeah, that's key what you mentioned, that it goes from an intense battle to actually calmness.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Yeah.
It's really important that, you know, after your heroes fight like a really serious encounter, that they just sit down by the campfire and chill out, you know? You know, and then they have like a heart-to-heart conversation or something like that. That's really important. So yeah, we want to actually create this on a fractal scale. I mentioned this before. You want this Freytag's pyramid on multiple time scales. You want it over the course of an hour and a half. You want it over the course of 30 minutes. You want it over the course of 30 seconds on all these time scales. So it looks more like this. So instead of this, you're going to take this and math it up, okay? Take it to an extra dimension, where you can find it on smaller and smaller scales. So that's where, for example, you have the shot in Pacific Rim that we watched in the narrative design class, where you see like this truck, and then the monster stomps on the truck, and then you just see a foot, and then it kind of pans up to look at them, then you get a face. That itself has this structure in it. The one shot alone features this structure. Okay? If you ever played Minecraft and you go hit a block on Minecraft, it's really satisfying to mine in Minecraft. There's a piece of ore in the wall, okay? All right? You start hitting it with your pickaxe, okay? And then cracks form. And they get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? There's sound effect, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. You know something's going to happen, you know it's going to pop. Then it pops. The block pops, it goes boop, right? And then you get little pieces come out, and little experience droplets, whatever, also come out, okay? And then you collect them, right? And there's like little satisfying sounds as you collect them, but you kind of collect them over time. It's calm, right? So that whole little thing, that tiny little interaction, it has this in it, and it's enjoyable because of that, because of the anticipation, the climax, and the resolution afterwards.
Oh yeah, the most satisfying thing about mining ores is the diamonds.
Not only, but it's fun just to, yeah. Okay. Now, we've had a lot more discussion than I thought. That was great. Yeah. You guys did have some energy in you after all. So, what are some ways to create engagement or fun without flow? We've been talking all about flow, but flow isn't the only way. It is not the only way. When is a time that you felt really engaged, or that you were having a lot of fun with the game, but you weren't in flow state? Not in flow
So
state.
you were either bored or stressed out. Like, what do you mean?
The middle of the Yerkes Dodson law, that's not like... Okay. So, yeah. So, there is space where... Basically, where you're not stressed, and you can be having fun. You could be not stressed and having fun in the game.
Mostly, I think Forex games give that.
Forex games. Ah. Not foreign exchange, but Forex games where they're a lot more cerebral. I feel that sometimes in those games I do get really involved in like thinking about my plans,
like
and so I do get in flow.
Especially like if it's turn-based, like
Mhm.
Civilization.
I get in flow in turn-based games. Yeah, I get in flow when I play Civilization because I forget to eat and stuff like that. What about you? Yeah? Yeah, that's flow.
Like, not all the time.
Not all the time. Okay, not all the time. Maybe it's more. Sometimes you can play a turn-based game in a different way where it's more casual and relaxed, where you're just doing one thing every now and then and you're not super focused on it. Anybody ever played The Sims?
I got bored in like 10 minutes.
Okay, well, there are different things for different. Okay.
I built the person for my person and he died.
That's one of the fun things, making Sims of your friends and stuff like that. Yeah.
I forgot that at the door. And I ran out of money.
On
And I didn't-
by accident or on purpose?
On accident, I forgot. It was like
Okay.
the first time I ever played Sims, built a house, my person was inside, I ran out of money,
Yeah.
didn't know how to sell stuff, and my guy died.
So
Couldn't leave.
okay, so The Sims is a game that doesn't really particularly try to create flow. It can. For example, when you're building and you get like in the rhythm of building and stuff like that, you can definitely get locked in doing that. But it's definitely not a game that's trying to stress you out a whole lot, right? And some games, they can be more on the relaxing side, where the reason you play them is not to lock in, but to cool off, right? Yes.
An example for that for me, I would say, is it's a dinosaur sim game I've been playing.
Dinosaur Sim.
It's called Path of Titans.
Path of Titans. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically what the whole premise of it is. You select a dinosaur from like the list of dinosaurs they have, and you grow it from infant to adult.
Oh, like a Tamagotchi.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so, and a lot of people in the game, like this, you're able to interact with other players,
Mhm.
but a lot of players, like, typically always complain about PvP and stuff, but for me, I just play because I enjoy dinosaurs.
Yeah, just taking care of the dinosaur is kind of
I
fun.
like
Okay.
playing as the dinosaur, either hunting to find food or just scavenging as an outfield.
Okay. Okay.
I enjoy that aspect of the game more than any PvP, so I play it just to play it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's not like, it's not super intense. You may or may not enter flow state in there, but that's not the point. Like the point is not the
I also
flow state.
enjoy, like, the ambience as well.
The ambience.
Updating it a lot lately, so they've added like more
Oh, just the calm, like
Calm.
the wildlife, the
wildlife sounds you
s-
can hear. Then
right, yeah, yeah.
during rain, you can actually hear like the rain.
Oh, the rain droplets on the leaves in the jungle and stuff. Yeah, that's really nice.
It's
That's really
and
nice.
calming as
Yeah.
well. So sometimes I just sit on like a cliffside and just listen.
Fantastic. Great. So that's a great example. Yeah. And games can have this as well. And this can be a great way to have that contrast, even if you have a game with intensity, to have those calm moments as well, or that chance that players could just sit down and appreciate. That's a good one. Yeah. So yeah, there's stuff. You know what else there is? When a game features engagement outside of the game. So players can enjoy and have fun, because of what the game supports in terms of social interactions as well. And maybe it's not flow, but it's a great reason to play a game, right? You're just chilling out, whatever. You're not super focused on it. You're not locked in. You're just playing a game with the boys or something like that, right? And chatting about nonsense, not playing super well, not locking in, but still enjoying. That's something too. I think that's quite admirable as well to have in your game.
I think that was like Sea of Thieves for us.
Sea of Thieves for you and your friends. That's a game which sets the expectations of you not being perfect. Yeah, it sets the expectations that things can go wrong and they will go wrong. So it makes it easier when things go wrong, right? People aren't super hardcore about it, right? I guess probably some people
No
are.
progress either.
No progress either.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get like upgrades.
You don't get, say again?
You don't get upgrades and
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like fairly consistent, and that also helps when players aren't able to log in all the time, so that you don't feel like you're left behind. Oh, my friends went and got to level 100 and I'm level 50, or something like that. So that helps actually very much with a social game, for sure, because that's always a big problem with social games that have player progression. You have to progress at the same time, whatever. Yes.
To add on to that whole idea with Sea of Thieves, I actually agree with that because there was one time I played Sea of Thieves where like it's all about like finding treasure and like selling and stuff, but
Yeah.
there's also like a fishing aspect.
Oh yeah, you can just
So
fish.
I literally logged on one day, just found a remote island, just sat there on my boat fishing for hours. And then like another crew rolled up on me and like, dude, you got any treasure? I'm like, nah, I just got fish. I'm like, oh, sweet. They were like, oh, we would have killed you if you had treasure, but you just sitting
Oh,
here
that's funny.
fishing.
Oh, that's great. They were like, okay, he's just fishing, leave him alone. That's funny. I would say you probably can still get into flow state fishing. You probably can,
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah, it's okay. One more.
Would Meet Your Maker count? Or would
I
that-
don't know this game.
It's co-op, but only 2 players, and people build bases.
Okay.
And just for no reason, there's not really a point. You just build bases. There's a MacGuffin, and you take your teammates and you just go raid people's base trying to steal it, and everyone can make their own different things to try and prevent you.
Okay.
You can just watch replays. There's no goal. It's just
Huh.
that, but you can die and whatever. You're always arguing with your teammate or whatever. But
So it's more of a sandbox, more goofy.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm not sure because I don't know the game too well, so I wouldn't be able to say. It depends on how you play it, right? How you're feeling when you play it, I
Build a
suppose.
base like Minecraft, Roblox.
Yeah, that's you can feel flow doing that though.
Yeah.
So, for example, even though Minecraft it doesn't have like a goal, right? You can get into flow state playing Minecraft, building a house because you set your own goal, right? You have, oh, I know what I want to do next. I want to make a really cool wizard tower or something like that, like this. So I am locked into just making like a series of concentric circles in Minecraft out of blocks, you know, and that's everything you need for flow. I have the resources, I have the skills, I know what I need to do. There's a balance of skill and challenge because I made my own challenge, right? That I'm going to challenge myself to build this or whatever, and that's all I need, right?
So Journey wouldn't have flow.
Say again?
Journey wouldn't have flow.
Why not?
There's not really anything to do at all in that.
Story.
You're supposed to go up. You know what to do in the game. You go up.
There, and I just kind of walked around.
No, it's definitely a less intense game. So it's definitely less like less chance of you locking in and like forgetting everything around you if you're not like, you know, super engaged with it. Yeah. Okay, but you can still enjoy, you know. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for that, folks. So here's what we'll do. It's 9:13. We could take a little break, and then we'll come back. And I want us to open Unity when we come back. And I want to see you guys build a character controller. And I want to help you if you don't know how to do that. So I mentioned yesterday, right, in narrative design, that you're going to need a character controller with WASD, okay? I want to see you do that. It should take only a couple minutes, theoretically. In theory. But let's see. And I can review materials to help you guys kind of understand what is going on with that. I want to see where we're at, right? I've heard tales that you can do this, but I want to see it. Trust but verify. All right, beautiful. We'll stop the stream here, and hopefully we'll be able to finish class early today.